Hey folks, so greetings and welcome. This should be the first day for you of News 120 Section 30K. So this is the last 5 weeks of the fall semester. I am Dr. Cuban, and what you're staring at is the site for our Blackboard course. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there with you today in person. I wish I could, especially on the first day. I'm actually in my hotel room in Baltimore, Maryland, for the Geological Society of America conference. And this is in connection with an immersive learning course that I teach about water quality issues in East Central Indiana. And so my colleague from Geological Sciences at Ball State, he and I are at this annual meeting. So over 7,300 people registered at this meeting, and he and I are leading a session. And so we have 15 different presentations that we're coordinating, ours being one of them. So it's, well, it's not all work and no play, I'm not going to lie to you, but at the same time, it is a lot of work. So, sorry I couldn't be there in person, but you probably met at this point my graduate assistant, Samantha Kirby, and Sam, thanks again for covering for me. I appreciate it. So the syllabus, we're going to talk in this video, and I get 15 minutes for free on this screencast software. So it'll be broken into at least two parts. This first part will give you the intro, the usual first day brouhaha about the course and what you can expect, and then I'll give you a little bit of insight on how to navigate your way through Blackboard for this particular site. I would presume by now you know how to work Blackboard, but it may be different the way I have it set up compared to your other classes. So that's this first part. Then in the second part, I'm actually going to do a bit of a introduction to what I think might be the very most important lesson of the entire 5 weeks. And I'm going to give it to you here on day one. So there it is. That's the tentative agenda. And this class session will be short-lived for you, but just know that in the future we will likely go the entire 75 minutes. That's the plan, and that's what you're paying for. So that's probably what we'll do. And so let's get into the syllabus, and I'll talk a little bit more about what you can expect. So my contact information is up here. And email, I do check regularly. Even when I'm traveling like I am now, I do tend to check it, maybe not as frequently as I would when I'm in Muncie, but I still check it often enough. I also give you social options, and then my policy is basically right there with my handle, my username, and all that. That's just how I prefer it. Every professor's different. I do have an office hour, and you'll notice with the footnotes, and yes, the syllabus does have footnotes, I do want you to contact me in advance if we need to chat, because I rarely have anybody ever come during my office hour, and so I always put this as a follow-up to contact me in advance. The course does meet Tuesday, Thursday, 9:30 to 10:45 in room 339. You're there, so obviously you figured that out. I'm not going to go through this line by line, graph by graph. One of your reading assignments for our next class meeting, and at that point next Tuesday, I will be back, November 10th, I believe it is. I will be there in person. And I would like you between now and then to read this course syllabus. And folks, I'm not just saying that, for the hell of it. I'm telling you that you should read this. And why? Because there's important information about expectations, my late return policy, do you still get credit or don't you? What is the submission procedure in the first place so that you don't miss points? I'll emphasize these things audibly right now, but the reason I'm stressing this is that I don't know. I just feel like some folks are not taking that seriously. This is what you're seeing in front of you on the screen. This is what I view as a contract for us for the next 5 weeks. And to that end, in fact, what the hell, I'll just show you. Where's my News 120 folder? I already have this ready to go for when I'm in class next time. I have a document on a signature. Here we go. Now, this is repetitive, and that's just so that I don't waste paper. But the bottom line is I do have a small slip of paper I'm going to have you sign saying in here that you have read and that you understand and agree to the contents of that syllabus. So that way then there's no way that you can come back and say, oh, I didn't know this. Bullshit. Yes, you did. Or at least you signed off something saying that you did, and if you didn't read it and you signed off on it, well, that's a character flaw, folks. So I would say that it's in your best interest, yes, to read this. I realize it's a 1 credit course and it's only 5 weeks, but I have gone to great lengths to try to make it as descriptive as I possibly can for you. So if there's any confusion, I would rather know about that now up front rather than later on. So your textbook, I don't have those with me. I didn't obviously travel with them, but I do have links to them where you can click and find out exactly what you need. But in short, it should be the same text that you've used for News 121 and 122, most likely this semester. So we are going to use Reporting for Media, and then we're going to use the Associated Press style book. And that style book you're going to need, maybe not today, but you're definitely going to need it on Tuesday. So please make sure that you invest in that. The other thing I'm going to mention, and again, it's going to sound kind of tedious, and I get that, but it's still bold-faced for a reason. And just as a general rule, anything in the syllabus that you see bold-faced, highlighted, underlined, or a different font color, I've done that for a reason. It's designed to try to draw your attention to that point. So here we go with the boldface. Yes, folks, invest in a personal stapler, okay? Sounds ridiculous, I get it. But I will tell you right now, there is no stapler up there at that front desk where I would typically be standing and doing my whatever it is that we instructors do. There is no stapler up there, so don't bother asking me for one. And no, I do not bring one with me to class every day. That is your job. It's your assignment. Take some ownership. Take some pride in your work. It's $3 at Target. Buy yourself a stapler. It will change your life. So I do put that in there because I get tired of the folded over corners and independent sheets. I'm pretty organized. I really don't ever lose anything. However, I do think that it'll be easier for you to keep track of things too in terms of your own organization. So now moving into some more substantive comments about objectives. What we're trying to do, well, we want to help you develop sufficient strategic search strategies. There's an abundance of information out there. Finding content isn't going to be the issue. However, we are going to try to show you tactics to try to make your searches more efficient. And then I'm also going to be having you dig into databases and then evaluating the information that comes from those databases. And that, to me, is going to be of utmost importance for you. The abundance of information, that won't be so much the issue for you these days. It's the evaluation. How do you know that the information you have is credible? That's the key question. So I've got some department policies. I will let you read those. I have some university policies. A lot of these come standard. If you have other journalism classes in this major this semester, you'll see a lot of the same vernacular. What you won't see then are my expectations, because these are unique to me. So attendance. Get your ass to class and get it there on time. 9:30 is when we go. And I am usually on time when I'm physically in Indiana. I'm usually there. Some of you, I was looking at my roster, some of you have had class with me before, so you know that I'm being pretty honest about that. I value your presence and your participation. And to that end, you get points every class session for punctuality, and then also general presence, and then constructive participation. I don't want you screwing around doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing. I want you engaged in what we're talking about. I do try to make it worth your while to be there. So, as I say, excessive tardiness is going to adversely affect your grade because, again, you're accruing points over the course of the 5 weeks. And if you are going to miss, it's your responsibility to stay on track and submit all your work by the deadline. Pay attention to that last part of that clause. Submit all work by the deadline. All right? I'm going to show you in Blackboard before long. You've got all your assignments in there already and your quizzes for the 5 weeks that comprise this News 120 class. So to sit there and say, oh, I didn't know or I wasn't aware, again, I'm calling bullshit on that. Yes, you do know. So actually, what the hell, I'll just go to it right now. Oh, you should know I do cuss, even if I'm not there to do it in person. So yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry, kind of, but wrong thing. Okay, so while we're here, I might as well just explain this. If you need to email, there you go. Announcements, we are getting into bad weather season. We are getting into flu season. Usually that's the reason why I would post an announcement. Otherwise, most times I'll email the entire class. Syllabus is there. and so you can access that separately. Online material, that's mainly, that'll let you know what's upcoming. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get through all this. You know, this is for the entire duration of the course, mind you. This is not for any one particular class session. This is for the entire 5 weeks. You do have reading and viewing assignments. I have some YouTube videos in here that I'm going to want you to look at, and I've marked in the syllabus schedule when you should view these. They're meant to be infotainment. I mean, they are meant to be informative, but they're also meant to be of entertainment value. You know, things, there's one in here, like the copyright one, that's a rap. I mean, it's absolutely corny. Oh, no doubt about it. But hopefully you'll get something out of it. It'll be kind of fun. Better than listening to some prof drone on about it, right? The filing a FOIA, if you don't know what FOIA is, Freedom of Information Act, we'll have a whole class session on that later on. FOIA, that's a video that someone did that's staged in the 1940s. You know, it's kind of cool. I don't know, I liked it. So I've got some videos in here that I found helpful. I found them resourceful, and you know, to that end, I made them viewing assignments. And then there's some other things in here that I want you to read. I may not get to all these things. I view Blackboard as it's a content management system by name, but I view it as an archived resource for you, because after this class ends, you will be able to access this content in here again, and I would hope that you would. So I've got it in here. I don't know how much or how little we'll get to, but my goal is to get through most of it. So here are the exercises. All right, in class, we're going to be doing an in-class exercise when I get back next week. So, I mean, again, take a look at this, cross-reference it with your own schedule. You know, what the hell do you have going on, you know, with the rest of your courses, especially as we close out the semester. So notice the deadlines, again in red, designed to draw your attention. Pay attention to the details. If I say hard copy, that's what I mean, hard copy. I don't feel like I need to say any more about that. So it goes all the way down here to your final project. So it's all right there. And then your quizzes, these won't be due until the very end of the 5 weeks, but you already have access to them. Now, I think it might be strategic for you to hold off on those for now. I mean, you can get a start on them if you really wanted to, but I would hold off on submitting them until we've actually talked about what I want you to know about AP Style, until you've actually had all the reading assignments in the textbook. So I would just caution you if you're going to work ahead. But the bottom line is that you can work ahead. So as I say, submission procedures, I will post things to Blackboard, as you just saw, and I want hard copies of your work. The lone exception will be those 2 quizzes that I just showed you. You'll do those electronically, and you'll get feedback immediately after you submit it. The rest of your assignments, hard copies, because I get tired of the, oh, it logged me out, I had technical issues, la 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 la. I don't care. I don't care. Sorry, but I don't. I want you to get your stuff done, and if you do it as a hard copy and bring it to class with you, then we circumvent all those technological issues, or rather, you have to deal with them on your own time, and then that doesn't rope me into it. On the deadlines, again, red and underlined, 9:30. So here's the deal. If you are late to class, and that's the day that we have an assignment due, not only have you missed out on some participation points in your grade, but you've also turned in a late assignment. I'm not good for that. So I'm going to talk about late work here in just a second, but just know that I will always take things early. I will always accept things early. Now, if I say hard copy, I still want it early as a hard copy. That's my policy. But if you know you're going to be gone, if you feel like you're going to be sick and you're going to miss class and it's a deadline date, get that stuff to me ahead of time, or at least try to. You know, get it to me ahead of time. If you can't get me a hard copy, then at least attach it as an email. I mean, it's better than nothing. You know, just sitting there and presuming that I'll be okay with late work, that's a bold assumption that's going to bite you in the ass every time. And again, I'm being pretty straightforward even through a screencast, and I realize that, but I have become concerned with, in general, the student body. Now, I only know a couple of you on my roster. I don't know some of you very well at all at this point, but I'm just speaking in general. I don't like how lackadaisical people have become with deadlines. So yeah, I say right in here, not 9:31, not 9:35. Basically, if I've called for it and I've asked you to turn it in, at that point, if you're not there to give it to me, or you don't have it for whatever reason, and you know, if I've asked for hard copy and you don't have that hard copy with you, it is late. And that's going to be a problem for you. So I didn't quite get through all the syllabus. I'll pick up on this in the second half, part 2 of this screencast for our opening day. So stay tuned.